Usually when I come up with video ideas, it's always on a case of, here is my point, let me explain it, and I'm pretty sure the majority of people are going to either agree, disagree, but there's going to be a really good reaction there, and that's why I love good footy conversation. Here I'm going to follow that, except I don't really know if I'm the only person that thinks this, and if I am, I'll put my hand up and this may be a bad take, but it's one I believe in really strongly. Having such an even competition this late in the year, it's actually not that great. Let me explain. The channel's got a big lift recently, so subscribe if you haven't already. Click the like button, help more people see it. It only takes a second, and it helps in a way that is immeasurable for me to explain. But let's get to this take. So if you haven't looked at the ladder recently, Sydney are 3 games clear of Carlton, who are in second. Carlton are only 2 games clear of 13th placed Hawthorn. Now, for those of you that don't know, I am a Hawthorn supporter, and Hawthorn's percentage, I can understand if you're thinking right now, they're effectively an extra game back, or half game back, however you want to think about it. They are so far back for mine. The Hawks, if they win 13 games for the year, are not playing finals. They will need to win that 14th game. They will have to go 14-9 in order to make it. So let's start there and continue forward. But as you could probably tell from the intro, I fucking hate how the ladder looks right now. I really do. It's awful. And this isn't what equalisation is, right? It just isn't. And at the very core of my overall point here is guesswork is fun. Yeah, we don't know what's going to happen. That's fun up to a point, right? And this isn't even like a surprisingly jarring, maybe even jealous, envious kind of thing, right? My footy tips are flying at the moment. The last 4 weeks, 6 for 6, 6 for 6, 6 for 9, 7 for 9. I'm pretty happy with that. 25 out of 30, I think, is the right. 6, 6, 9, 9, 27. No, that's not right. $25 out of 30 the last month. I will happily take that, right? It's not even that effectively. But what's kind of grinding me at the moment is that, yeah, all these teams are close, but none of them are great. Right? We don't even know if Sydney's great, by the way, but they've played the best footy. They've only lost 3 games, thereby combined 8 points. I'm ready to put them the tier above, as we all are. But Dads, they lost to St Kilda. 2 out of their 3 losses came from teams who are so far from finals, it's extraordinary. And the only loss they had against someone that matters was with a kick after the siren. So we can't really go, with Sydney aren't they great either. And even if you think that, you're actually improving my point. No one at this point who reaches the finals, no one in contention right now is that easy to trust. And that's just not a great thing. This is like watching a movie where every character is meh. They're meh. You know what? Here's the best way that I can explain this. The AFL right now is Saw 5. Why not? Let's bring that into it, right? None of the characters in Saw 5 matter at all. At all. And the twist of the entire Saw 5 film, from the Jigsaw standpoint, is that there's no twist. And the way they should have played the game is obvious to anyone who isn't 11 years old. That's what this is. 2nd to 13th. Hawthorn, Brisbane, Geelong are in the best form. And for different reasons, they could all effectively leave it too late. And even then, Brisbane probably are the exception to the rule. But Geelong have an Achilles heel, the midfield. And what I mean by that is against Sydney. This isn't against other teams. 4 teams are going to make the prelims, no matter what. No matter what, 4 teams are making the prelims. That is a dead set thing to happen. So whoever makes the 8 is, But Sydney's fate being in their own hands, is not that fun of an experience. So we need to judge everyone else about how they are against the Swans. And you could argue that Brisbane, 1 or 2 in the case of can beat them. Freo obviously have proven that, which is awesome. Right? But outside of them, and we're not even sure how good they are. Now, they don't play finals in Tassie, so Freo are still looking reasonably good. So we can have, a little faith in them? But then you've also got the right to go, well, they did lose to 13th. And then we turn around and go, but 13th's only 2 games off second. So a Hawthorn nearly second? No, they're 13th. The 13th ranked team beating 3rd on its own is a great upset. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th on the ladder as ladder positions the last 3 weeks are all 1 and 2. And that just brings in, for me, a lack of solidity, a lack of consistency. You think of the best in-season teams of all time. Let's go the best 2 this century, right? Essendon in 2000 v Geelong in 2008. 2000 proves my point. At the end of round 18, Essendon had such a gap over Carlton, it was ludicrous. It was catch them if you can, and no one did. Yes, the Bulldogs beat them, but in terms of finals, no one did. No one looked close. And you know who looks back with fondness on the 2000 season? Essendon fans. Not footy fans, Essendon fans. Hawthorn made the finals for the first time in 9 years, and then fell in love with the 2001 team, so that didn't mean squat. 2000 is underrated outside of Brisbane because whilst that was the season that got them finals and catapulted them with some experience and they went and had a dynasty, sure, they can have some appreciation there. It's not even that fondly looked upon Melbourne supporters because of what happened on grand final day. We don't remember that year with fondness. We are not going to remember this season with any fondness. And add in the fact that so many of these important games are decided by poor in-game decisions by players and officials, the entire thing is a lottery. And I don't know about you, I don't sit at home 9 times over a weekend and watch a lottery. Right? There is no possible tier system that makes a resemblance of sense. And do you know why I know that? It's because I recorded a power rankings tier list and it was a fucking mess. But the vibe video worked well with you guys, which I appreciate. But it worked well because it had nothing to do with win-loss record. Yet the win-loss record is so important. But the 2000, let's go back to that other point. 2008 was an awesome year. I'm not saying that because the Hawks won the flag, but it was an awesome year for Hawks fans. But even as Geelong only lost 1 game that year, to Collingwood, mind you, who did make the 8, but weren't a real finals threat or contender threat. But that year started with Hawthorn and the Bulldogs and Geelong winning at least 9 of their first 10 games. We had contenders. Contenders. Plural. At that point. We then get to round 17, and it looked like Geelong were going to conquer the world. And then they beat the Hawks. And everyone at that point, you might be going, well, it's just Geelong and good luck catching them. But it was only 11 points. And it wasn't as if at that point in time, everyone went, the Hawks are going to win the flag. I mean, Clarko said that, and that's an infamous story. But even by the time we hit finals, there were so many good teams around. Right? St Kilda took Geelong to the sword in the qualifying final. And then the Hawks smacked the Dogs. So, okay. Are there only 2 contenders? Well, we get to the preliminary final. Hawthorn smacked the Saints. The Bulldogs took Geelong to the very brink. 2 elite teams. One more elite than the other. And we were just so lucky, as a Hawthorn fan, but even as footy fans, that the all-conquering team failed. And the Hawks effectively stopped a three-peat. Now, whether they would have won 09 after winning 08, who knows? But that happened. We had contenders, pretenders. We had that. We don't have this. Every single team from 2nd to 13 have detrimental flaws. Detrimental flaws. And we are 5-6 weeks out from finals. We're 2 months away because we got the pre-finals bye, which is just awesome. And that's a little bit infuriating. No one should watch Shutter Island and not think things are weird. We shouldn't watch footy going, I think I have an idea, but fuck it, who knows? Going into a weekend, like, I can't do a tips video, even though I put my tips in the videos. And I see it with creators now. I see it with Fox Footy now and all these people that do power rankings, up, downs. Now, they're fun things to debate. They really are. But you can't even find 3 people in a row in a comment section that can agree on 1 point. And you might think that's just a social media cesspool, but footy's got a lot to do with that. 2 games between 2nd and 13th is not good. Because what's the fairy tale? Who are the underdogs to root for? No one. There is 1 team that is above the rest, and there are 12 who are fighting for scraps. I didn't think there'd be so many movie references here, but think of the movie The Platform. And if you haven't seen The Platform, I'll quickly explain it to you. These people are in 2 people cells that are vertical. And the lower cell room number you are, the more access to food you have. So if you're on cell number 1, you get your choice of everything, and you can eat as much as you like. And then after a certain time period ends, it drops to level 2, they eat, and so on and so forth, and it changes every month, I think. I only saw the movie once. The movie's not that good, but the premise fits here beautifully. Sydney are on cell 1. And from Carlton to Hawthorn and everyone in between is basically cell 50. They're just fighting it out for scraps. And the disappointing thing I think here is that there are going to be people that love this. There are going to be people that are like, not knowing is part of the fun. Bring it on. And there is a case to be made that is true. This could just be Grandpa Simpson, old man yells at clouds. It could be. Who knows? I don't. But who knows? But as a footy fan, even looking at this week's fixture makes me wonder, yeah, but these games might be close on the ladder, but what does it matter? In 2 weeks' time, we could be back here again. The only game that looks like an elimination final is Collingwood-Hawthorn. If Hawthorn lose, I just don't see a way that they'll be able to get over GWS, Carlton, and they've got someone else there. I can't remember off the top of my head. But they're going to have to get over those, because with Richmond and North, you'd think they'd win both of those. That's awesome for the Hawks, but they need to win the extra game. They need to get to 14. So they'll have to win at least 2 of Collingwood, Carlton, GWS. And I doubt if they lose to Collingwood, they'll beat the Giants in Canberra or Carlton. But that's just my opinion on paper. They can do it, will they? Not sure. Just not sure. Don't shoot me. I'm just not sure. Do you know why I'm not sure? Because who knows? With so many close games dictated by umpiring decisions, Freo Carlton, Adelaide Essendon, right? If you flipped all the close results, the ladder would look stupidly similar, I feel, without doing that research. And look, we're still going to get good games. And the teams that make finals are still going to be in form. But are we really sitting here going, this has been a season for the ages? Is this evenness great? Is it? If I'm alone in this, I'll accept that. But surely at some point, we have to know who the good teams are. And if that takes place over the next 3 weeks, fine. But what evidence do we have that the ladder is going to take some sort of shape? Hawthorn, after round 12, were 12th. They've gone 4-1 since. They're now 13th. And I'm sure there are other teams that are going through something similar. But to be honest, this isn't great. The umpiring is not as good as it's ever been. I haven't seen so many fans hate commentary as much as I've seen. And then at the end of the day, when we look forward to another week, the results week to week are becoming less and less important, because a week after, it could just correct itself. And I'm not sure that's a great thing for the competition. There's no fairy tale. There's no underdog. Who's everyone's second team? If your team doesn't win it, who do you hope wins it? That is a difficult question to answer. It's mostly been easy to answer. Even if we say to ourselves, I never hope for success for anyone else. That's fine. I understand where you're coming from, especially if your team is a contender. Right? But I went to high school. I've had these conversations. It was GWS in 2017. It was the Bulldogs in 2016 after they beat us in the semi-final. Right? It happens. It was Melbourne in 2021 to break the drought. It's not anyone at the moment. And that's not great. It just isn't. It's cooked. I don't know how to fix it. And I just needed a rant. So, there you go. I'm going to do a draft video tomorrow to make myself feel better. I hope you enjoyed this. Comment below. Let me know what you think. And Daz needs a bourbon. See you guys.